We are the two witnesses watching the end of the world as it happens. What
Indeed.
have you got for us today?
Oh, what have I got for us? I thought you were going to kick off. Question is, are DEI hires a risk to security slash safety? So
Oh,
this is in the context of, as I'm sure you're aware, two RAF fighter jets at Brize
Rose
Norton
Norton.
were vandalized and basically
Sabotaged.
pa Palestine Action people managed to get in there on a scooter with a pink plastic bag full of spray paint, totally undetected. And initially, they reported it was about £1 million worth of damage. Apparently, they've caused £55 million worth of damage. The
Wow.
reason I ask if it's linked to a DEI hire, it's a question. I may be wrong, but the person who was in charge of RAF Bryce Norton is a woman, Louise Henton. Yes, Group Captain Louise Henton, OBE. And someone made a comment on X that she got an OBE for being a woman.
Ah, but does she used
And
to be a man?
well, presumably she has more achievements than just being a woman. However, it seems she was previously employed in the personnel department. Doesn't really have much experience that would seem to link to the job. So, maybe unfair, maybe fair to
Mm.
question
Can
why
I
this
just
person.
say, Rachel from accounts is the same.
Yes,
And look what a
yes.
great job she's done. So we shouldn't judge, should we? Yeah.
And it reminded me when I read this of, do you remember just after Trump was inaugurated and there was this very strange helicopter crash where a plane went straight into a helicopter, and it looked from the footage, it basically looked like it was deliberate or that it could have been avoided. And again, looking at who was in charge there of the air traffic control, basically, they were putting DEI above any form of meritocracy or the right person for the job. They were basically prioritizing, and this sounds harsh, but this is true. People with one leg, people with visual impairment, people who couldn't hear, over people that would be qualified to actually do the job. So obviously Trump got in there straight away and stopped the DEI hiring for these
He
really important jobs.
he did. He did say at the time that if you're working in air traffic control, you need two eyes. So that might give us a clue. Oh, and two legs. So that might give us a clue as to what was going on.
And
And of
definitely
course,
two arms. Yeah.
yeah, they were woefully understaffed because they couldn't find all the one-legged, one-eyed, non-white, non-male people who would be allowed to work there. So there was only one person when there should have been two. And between the one person, they only had one eye. Or maybe he meant two pairs of eyes. I might have got that wrong.
They probably did have two eyes. However, they were woefully unqualified for that job.
Now, Mr. Spigot, you, a one-legged man, are applying for the part of Tarzan.
Right again.
A role that is traditionally associated with a two-legged man. And yet you, a unidexter, are applying for the role.
Right.
A role for which two legs would seem to be the minimum requirement.
And also, but once that had happened, they looked into the technology as well and found that that also was woefully inadequate. So the whole review took place, but the start of that was the hiring practices and not getting the best person for the job. So it just those two things I thought straight away when I saw this, apart from the fact that it's actually terrorism, and Keir Starmer called it an act of vandalism.
Yes, one of the planes. See, I thought it was a bit of a laugh at first, and then yes, £30 million worth of damage. They've not said this on the news. I found this in the Guardian, so that was never reported at the time. £30 million of damage, possibly 55, because they may
Yeah.
have to replace one of the planes because it may be unsafe to fly. Now, it wasn't little cans of pink spray paint that they took. It was modified fire extinguishers. So it wasn't just spray paint, it was force. They were using liquid under pressure that they squirted into the engines and completely destroyed them. So it wasn't painting them. It wasn't a bit of paint you could get off. It was actual sabotage. They
Serious damage.
sabotaged
Yeah.
two RAF airplanes, and Lisa Nandy described them as making bad choices. That's what she had to say about them.
I mean, the only conclusion with every day that passes is that this is deliberate sabotage from within the country at every level.
Now, the Prime Minister dismissed this as a disgraceful attack. And then we look back in his own legal history. And when he was still a barrister, he defended a guy called Josh Richards, who was arrested after cutting the fence at RAF Fairford while carrying a can of petrol intended to set fire to Britain's defence fleet of aircraft. Starmer argued in the defence of this character that Richards' action was legal because he was endeavouring to prevent a wider crime, the Iraq War.
When we're practically at war, when Starmer's telling us that we've got to increase our war spending and move to a war economy, we're letting people run around air bases. And
This is the
apparently they
thing,
were
it's,
Azerbaijanis, so they weren't. They could have been anybody. They could have been anybody. And then one day,
How do they know they were Azerbaijanis if they don't know who they are?
locals said that's what they were, but they're being called British. But that doesn't mean they're not from Azerbaijan, does it? We know that everybody in the world's got a British passport. But then a day later, a man is arrested in Cyprus for spying.
Yeah.
Doing a lot less to planes at an airbase in Cyprus.
And those two planes actually were two of the planes that regularly delivered aid to Gaza, believe it or not, but also the route was mostly to Cyprus, those planes. So there's obviously a link there.
Yeah. Well, Cyprus is the nearest airbase we've got to Israel, so that's why they'd be going there if they were doing aid. But yeah, that's a shame that they won't be getting any more aid from us then, isn't it? If the planes are out of action. Well done, Palestinian Action. You've starved your own people.
Luckily, we've got people like Greta, though, to take, £175 worth of aid on a ship. But just the final one on the DEI. So I saw another one. There was I can't remember what nationality it was, but basically it just arrived quite recently. Don't know if it was legally or illegally. Wanted to meet up and rape a 13-year-old English girl. Turns out he works for the NHS, and when asked, have you raped English girls before? Have you raped anyone before? Oh, not many. And he works on an NHS ward with access to children.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's a lot of it about. I'm not being funny, but YouTube is absolutely full of videos of these immigrants just arrived. A bunch of vigilantes called Child Action, not Palestinian Action. Or was it Child Warfare? I don't know. They caught somebody talking to 3 or 4 different girls, trying to get them to give him their addresses, 12-year-olds. And he said he wanted some friends because he was lonely.
Yeah, usually luckily we have these vigilantes going around capturing these people. Usually they just say, "Oh, I only arrived a few days ago. I didn't know that wasn't okay. I didn't know that was wrong."
When I did law A level 20, 30 years ago, ignorance wasn't a defence in law.
But now it is apparently.
Apparently, if you're a certain DEI demographic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're a paedophile.
Yeah, law apply. Yes, obviously, always give the benefit of the doubt to the paedophiles. They're not doing anything wrong.
One other tiny little thing that comes out of this is nothing to do with the DEI aspect. I just found it interesting that, do you remember not that long ago, there was a guy that supposedly drove his car into a crowd of celebrating football fans in Liverpool.
In Liverpool.
Remember that?
I do.
Massive, wasn't it? On the day it happened, there were sort of 60 or 70 people injured. And then 3 days later, apparently, there were 90 people injured. So somehow over the weekend, after it had all happened, there were some more people who came out. There were 3 different people who were supposed to be the driver. The court drawing was nothing like the guy that was in the car and was nothing like the guy that they supposedly charged. But what I found interesting...
Were they saying he was like a 52-year-old, and then they were showing pictures of someone who looked about 27?
Yeah, and the guy that they said was the guy that they had charged is actually an actor. You can find him on the web. So I think my personal opinion is the whole thing was staged, psyoped. And one of the little hints is that the ambulance, I've got a picture of it here.
It had
it had 33 on there. 33.
Yeah, like 33rd level.
And the crash we were just referring to in America with the helicopter and the plane, it was on runway 33. And it's just it's always 33 in these things. You can always, it's quite interesting because obviously 33rd degree Freemason, Jesus was crucified at age 33. The 33 always comes up. And
Yeah.
I just thought that was quite
Three
an
is there.
interesting.
It's 33 is two magic numbers.
Yeah.
Three. Yeah, it's just when you were talking about it being an actor, it reminded me of the one parent family that Keir Starmer went to. Can you imagine being a one parent family and Keir Starmer comes to visit you?
Yeah, but it's
She was
apparently it's
telling
his
him,
own kitchen. It's his
huh?
own kitchen.
Yes, I know. And she was telling him how what a great job he's doing, and just saying all. I think did she call herself a working person at one point or
Oh
not?
yeah, yeah.
But
They
yeah,
fed the lines. She is an actress. You
she
can
is an
find it.
actress, and actually
Yeah.
someone's outed her and actually knows her real name.
To another nearly 3 million people, so that'd be 6 million in all, £150 off the bill.
Yeah, so it will make a massive difference to me. So through the winter months, obviously, like most people, it's the most difficult with some electric. They've got.
They found
But then
her,
he was
you know,
interviewing a guy in the same kitchen, wasn't he? I can't remember what that was
I
about. That
don't
was
know. I
yeah,
don't
yeah. I
know.
think it's obviously a what do you call it, film studio or
Yes, yes. I mean, we have Pallywood. Now we've got Starmerwood. Yeah, so I thought we'd start with the news today that every newborn is to have their DNA mapped.
Yes, just right in the same week as newborns can be murdered up to 9 months.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that was fortuitous because if you give them a DNA test and they don't pass, you could just like kill them then and there, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Why,
yeah.
you know? Or if the test results come back, you can book their euthanasia for 6 months before the DNA test says they're going to die, couldn't you? Or
You
whatever
could.
disease the
You
DNA
could.
test says they're going to have. Um,
But yeah. Oh,
so
you might
if
as well just cut out the middleman and murder the child in the womb. What's the point of if you all I mean this is my question was at what stage do they do this DNA
at birth, they do it to the placenta
at birth?
at birth. Yes,
Oh,
so
okay.
if you're, if the placenta comes out first, if the cord comes out first, you could do the DNA test and check, and then you could change your mind and not bother. Oh no, this DNA is rubbish, so I don't want this one. This is a reject.
Well, I
Um,
wonder if as well it's basically they want to do the test to see. I know this sounds quite sinister, but some bloodlines are more important than others, aren't they?
oh,
So
Tracy, I
if they
know,
have a certain
I
if they
know.
have a certain blood, then
Yeah, did you know that tw 23andMe or whatever it's called, they don't do it in Israel. They have their own.
oh
They will
really?
not send their DNA out to the world because people are
No.
looking for them. There's only, how many are there in the world? There's only about 9 million. I mean, it wouldn't take a lot to wipe them all out, would it? Or develop a disease that kills them all. They don't have
Exactly.
their
Yeah.
DNA floating around in the same pots as we do. And I wouldn't do one either because there's always the police knocking at people's doors having pretended that they were on Ancestry and a relative. Saying,
Oh,
oh, and yes, and this is the thing. What's going to happen with all this data they're collecting? Is that DNA test on file forever? I would think so, because they're planning it. It's part of their 10-year plan to produce preventative medicine for people, a more bespoke service that will save money. No, they're going to have
how
all the
would it?
DNA on file. You won't be able to go anywhere without them knowing.
Well, do you remember when they first did the COVID testing? I don't know if you were, oh, unfortunately, we found ourselves in a position where we had to drive to one of these car parks to get tested. And they basically, there's a swabs. You stuck it up your
Mm,
nose and your throat, of course, collecting your DNA,
yeah,
put it in the little
absolutely.
envelope.
Yeah.
We never got a result. They just took
Ah.
that away.
Well, it's an interesting one because it's kind of in the same sort of month that we had trade talks with the USA. And the UK trade deal could include NHS data access, says Minister. We might not be able to privatise the NHS, but we can certainly sell all the data, can't we?
As soon as you think, oh, they're going to take my DNA, they're going to do this, that, and the other, you don't want any intervention from the NHS because they own you. So, isn't it better to just go back to the natural way? I sometimes think that the childbirth wouldn't be so painful if they didn't force you into a hospital. In a way, it's like they make it dangerous by the environment that they create. I mean, the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that the National Health Service is the National Death Service, and by whatever means they'll make you ill or kill you,
Does seem to be that way. And anyway, with this data, I watched
unalive you.
they were talking about it on the BBC this morning. So there was a lady there being in. She was another journalist. The BBC have a habit of interviewing journalists about journalist stuff. Anyway, but throughout the interview, this girl is explaining what will be happening, and she kept sort of doing this with her nose. I'll show it to you, and you can. I'll just mark the points whenever she's saying something. She's going either like that or narrowing her eyes. And when micro expressions of wrinkling your nose is disgust, and narrowing your eyes is disbelief. So whatever she was saying, and you can see it because I'll show it in a second, whatever she was saying, she didn't believe any of it and she was disgusted by some of it.
Well, we know that the government is very keen to use the latest advances.
Sneering at latest advances.
In technology and in
See the narrowing of the eyes there.
Science to make improvements to the NHS, things like reducing waiting times. And we have heard that as part of their strategy, now they've got a 10-year strategy, they're going to be releasing the details in the coming months, but as part of that there is a plan to perform DNA mapping on all newborn babies. And what that does is tries to detect specific DNA sequences which are associated with certain types of disease. It means that they can catch it earlier and they can offer treatment earlier.
So there we go. But she did mention that in the UK, Genomics England is already working with America on some things. And I thought, oh, Genomics England, what is that? Well, that's like a website that you can join for research. So if you're a PhD student or you're a university, you can join and you can pool all your research together and you can get all this NHS data, of which there must be billions of pieces. And then when you look at who can join, it's researchers, postdocs, principal investigators, and clinical researchers. Well, that sounds harmless enough. Oh, sorry. And industry partners ranging from big pharma and biotech companies to small, medium enterprises.
So what sort of information would be on them? People's names?
They don't need names. They just need, it'll be DNA things, but obviously there will be names because they'll need to map those people.
Exactly.
If it's part of their NHS preventative treatment. What I do want to know is, will insurance companies be asking for this data? Will you be able to get holiday insurance? Will you be able to get life assurance? Will you even be allowed to drive?
Well, this is all part of the basically making us slaves and not allowing us to travel, not allowing us to drive, not allowing us to fly. I mean, speaking of insurance, someone made a good point around the assisted dying bill, because if you've chosen to die, does the insurance pay out for your family?
I don't know. Does it if you commit suicide? Because committing suicide is not illegal anymore. It would be the same, wouldn't it?
Oh, is it not
It'd be
illegal?
the same as that.
So they pay out.
Suicide has not been illegal since about 1929 in this country.
I mean, it doesn't have to be illegal for the insurance company not to pay out.
That's why they changed the law.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So because of the crime, they weren't paying out. But I need to check. I'm not sure. I need to check.
So in that case, crime didn't pay.
Not that particular crime of murder by death.
It's also sinister. It's like the central banking. It's everything, isn't it? Every bit of data about you, they know and they can control.
Everything you used to rely on became convenient, and now it's what was that guy's name who did the film about the inconvenient truth? Everything's all our conveniences are becoming very inconvenient for actually being able to live a free life.
Yeah, there is no freedom, is there? I mean, now all the roads are going. I mean, I can't believe this. They said they're going to put a speed limit of 5 miles per hour on some roads. You could pretty much walk that quickly.
Well, yeah,
which is exactly what they want.
The average walking speed is 4 miles an hour. So when you're walking your dog, you're probably doing 5. Yeah.
Yeah. They either want you on a bike or walking or not going anywhere at all. Ideally.
Not really ideal for rural areas, though, is it? Because
no, they don't care about rural areas. There won't be any, will there? They'll all be plastered over with solar panels and Who knows what?
Yeah, I suppose they will. Yeah. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Anyway, did you have anything else? Because I've got another topic that I just wanted to look at.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so obviously with the abortion bill being passed, I'm a bit I'm a bit obsessed with this abortion bill. It all seems a bit strange to be
Yeah.
aborting babies up to birth. We've never done it before. Why are we doing it? So I thought, what could be the reasons behind it? And I thought maybe I'd seen a headline that worldwide transplants were in high demand and body parts were a black market product now. But obviously with babies, there's not millions of babies looking for transplants, but the beauty industry, of all things, needs babies' body parts. Sandra Bullock was on a TV program,
Oh
and we
yes,
can
is
watch
this the
that.
foreskin? The
We can watch that now.
foreskin.
She's had a penis facial, she called it, and we can watch that now.
But what is it? It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
And the doctor who does that, he uses all sorts of bits and pieces in his beauty products, and he has something called the fetal facial. Now, the fetal facial is so called, he says, because it makes you look as young as a fetus. And Victoria Beckham has the fetal facial. So I wouldn't say she looks as young as a fetus. I started wondering perhaps if they are using baby body parts in this stuff, not just foreskins. I mean, in Britain, there's a massive market for it as well, for stem cell research.
Yeah.
So I found a report in 2005, an investigation into trafficking of aborted fetal tissue.
Bless you.
Stopped a train in Ukraine and got two people off who were carrying 2 suitcases full of fetuses that they were selling on the black market. They were taking to Russia.
So they were dead. Were they preserved in any way? Or
I think they were frozen. So they were special. They looked
okay.
like suitcases, but they were special suitcases. They were frozen.
Okay.
Frozen bodies of aborted babies. And it turned out that in the Ukraine, in Kyiv, as we now call it, not Kiev, in Kyiv, girls were being persuaded for 100 quid to get pregnant so they could have an abortion and they could collect the fetal matter. But in Ukraine at the time, the abortion limit was 12 weeks. And what they found was that they wanted older fetuses, really. So not only were they paying girls £100, and these are young girls, these are underage girls, these are just any girls who need 100 quid.
But how did they get pregnant?
It doesn't say how that happened. But I guess you've got to use your imagination. But anyway, once they got pregnant, they were then persuading them to go beyond the 12 weeks. But even worse, there were other cases where the doctors had made up bogus problems with people's babies and said that they had to have a late termination when there was nothing wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So that was that. And so I did wonder. And of course, now we're having all these abortions. The older the fetus, the better the bits, apparently. They're better for doing experiments with, they're better for beauty products, they're just better. They want them older. And I just wondered if
what bits do they use then?
Well, there was one doctor who was explaining that his company's slightly different because they need the material before the abortion. So they'll go inside and take heart material before they do the abortion. But it's fine because the woman's asleep, so she can't complain about it, apparently.
Does she know?
No. So this is what goes on in Ukraine. And of course, in Britain, one of the hospitals was found to be throwing fetuses onto the incinerator that keeps the hospital warm. We're supposed to get rid of them with what's the word?
Dignity.
Yes, that's what we do in the UK. But actually, no, that's not true, because again, if you have an abortion, you will be asked if you would like to donate your fetal remains to science.
They use them in vaccines as well, don't they?
They do. So they use them in all sorts. They're using them in all sorts, but it's this beauty industry that's got a massive worldwide black market, and all these bits been sold and taken to Russia and God knows where. And we did say, didn't we? We said the other week that everyone's worried about Ukraine, but it was just a horrible place, like the Centre for Surrogacy, the Centre for
Yeah.
curing children.
Horrors. Yeah, I saw a video on X of a woman who had gone into obviously they found out that there was something not well, very untoward going on. Actually, no, it was a soldier, and he was absolutely very distraught because he'd just gone in underground and found that there were bits of babies everywhere.
Oh,
And
I saw that or read that.
yeah, and a woman as well who'd said she'd gone, I think she might have been a nurse, and she'd gone into the hospital and found that this is what they were doing. They were basically, breeding the babies for the black market.
Yeah, they dissect them and then, sort them into organs and then
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, it's a bit like a food packing factory, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought that was quite horrific, but it just so people having an abortion in England, with these later ones especially, will be asked if they want to donate it to science. Wonderful.
But then what worries me more than that even is that there's no, in fact, that it's more likely that the women with the late abortions won't be under medical supervision because that's illegal after 24 weeks. So there'll be brand new backstreet abortion clinics set up, or a massive black market in these, and the women may well get paid to do it and know full well what they're doing. Because any woman that's willing to go 9 months to and then give birth or have the baby aborted is not the woman that cares, in my opinion.
It's worse. It's 100 million times worse than surrogacy, isn't it? Because it's going to be privatized. There's going to be, like you said, backstreet abortionists. Like, you can go and get your nails done, get your tan done, get your baby done, and sell it.
Well, in America,
like in Kyiv, I guess, just like in Kyiv.
But in America, when Kamala Harris was, in the run up to the election, at her rallies, they literally had mobile abortion clinics.
Yes, when Trump was in power, it went into power 2016. In 2018, he was horrified when he found out that Planned Parenthood was selling fetal matter.
Yeah.
And selling them to the government for research as well. And it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that they were they had an actual contract with the government for $360,000 or something, or with million. I've got it somewhere.
It's likely to be millions.
He cancelled that contract immediately, and put an end to it. But yeah, so Planned Parenthood, I guess they've had to find other markets for their product, and it is a product, isn't it?
There's quite a lot of footage.
I think it's becoming obvious. This is a product, and you can go and sell it.
Yeah, but Planned Parenthood is, horrific. I've seen footage of it where a journalist has gone undercover pretending they're interested in buying fetuses. And that if you watch it, it's just these people are laughing and how, when they pull the baby out and they get an organ intact, they have a celebration, because mostly they're like ripping the bits off, and it's just, you got to disassociate yourself from it, because if you think about what it really is, it's too much.
That's right. So it's better not to think about it too much. But we
it's happening.
Need to know that these things are going on, and we do need to know what's behind DNA testing. It's making money. It's for making money.
It's always making money.
Abortion up to birth, it's for making money. That's all it's about. That's all. We are becoming products in our own lives, and we've got to make sure that people don't do this to us. Just any kind of morals will help protect you against this stuff. Any morals at all would help protect you. But we just seem to be breeding a race, a generation of people with absolutely no morals. Did you see the gay couple, two men who like to adopt a baby? I'm not going to say what they did to him, but he's dead.
It's just, I've read a lot. I know that I'm not tarring every gay couple with the same brush, but I honestly don't believe that babies should be given to couples like that. The baby needs its mother. The baby needs its parents. You can't just rip a baby away from its mother and then expect it to thrive. Or
No. The thing with the gay couple is they're not like, no matter what you say, they might love each other, but they don't change their lifestyle. A gay lifestyle is a gay lifestyle. So yeah, they married each other, but they're still going out disco dancing with everybody under the sun. And I'm disco dancing, cottaging, whatever. They don't necessarily change their lifestyle to, like, you know, sitting at home reading the newspaper every night. They carry on with the gay lifestyle, with the parties, you know, the monkeypox parties and all that stuff.
Well, there's that, but and that's
child.
one aspect. But you'd hope that one of them would stay in and look after the child. But the worst is the paedophilia aspect. You know, that the case you've just described.
But it's not just that. They go partying, they get a bit drunk, have a few drugs. Who knows what they're going to do? You know, that when they're off their heads, because they're not like a normal family. I don't care what you say. It's not like a man and a woman. A woman will protect children. Not all men will.
I mean, not all women will either. I mean, there are some very bad women, obviously.
But you've got a better chance, especially if it's her own child. You've got a better chance. Whereas two men who are totally unrelated to a tiny baby.
I know, it's sick. There's so many photos online of this man with the baby on his chest, as if he's given birth to the baby, and they just take it away, and God knows what happens.
I hate it when women do that, when they've had a surrogate baby and they're pretending. Why are they in a hospital in a gown? What? Why? Or
even worse, twerking.
Is it Mike Buttigieg who used to work for Biden? Didn't he have a surrogate baby as well with his boyfriend or husband?
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
There's a lot of it about. It's not good. You know, you watch The Birdcage, it's hilarious, but it's not real. It's a film and it's not real. Those two men aren't real gay men. They're two actors.
No.
That's not what it's really like.
I mean, you can't. I mean, there must be some gay men, surely, who, you know.
I don't know.
Are devoted to each other. You don't.
I don't know.
No.
It's not the same as a woman's affinity with this small children. I mean, older children, yeah, why not? But babies, there's a reason that babies need their mothers. You know, that Welsh man pleading for the Palestinians said it all, didn't he?
The women are trying to feed their dying babies, and their breasts are empty. Do you know what that smells like?
Do you know what that smells like?
And what does he? And why does he?
Do I know what it smells like? I've still not got that out of my mind. I can't.
No. What is he talking about?
I have no idea. I don't know what it smells like, I'm afraid, but I don't really want to find out. I wasn't aware it would smell of anything. But there we go. Whatever.
Oh God. Very odd indeed.
Very odd, yeah.
Yes, so did you see the BBC newsreader yesterday who I think it was yesterday or the day before, when we were going to have this massive heat wave where 600 people were going to die apparently, and of those 600, some of them would be pregnant people.
Women.
I mean, you know, obviously she was naffed off with having to talk this nonsense, so she just said it. And apparently J.K. Rowling has hailed her for doing that.
She deserves a bit of credit.
She does, but will she keep her job?
Well, this is it. I don't know if it was just a natural, you know, if I was doing it, I might forget myself and just say, oh, for God's sake, women, people who are pregnant, women.
Because it's normal, isn't it? Because it's the natural thing to say, because how ridiculous to say pregnant people.
Yeah, she'll have to go and work with Alex Phillips instead, won't she? But yeah, she won't stand any nonsense. Anyway, I think we've discussed the world this week, where we didn't talk about Iran, but I'm sure that everybody's had enough of that for one day.
Yes.
Nothing's happened since Friday, so
if we're spared till next week, then we can do another one.
If the tribulation hasn't come. If Armageddon isn't taking place on that field just outside Jerusalem, we should be here next week at the same time.
Okay. Have a good week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.